Good morning, and welcome to World in 15, your trusted source for
Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi has secured a third consecutive term in office following a much closer general election than anticipated. His Bharatiya Janata Party (BJP) appears poised to fall short of a parliamentary majority, leading in the 543-seat House but below the required 272 seats. However, coalition partners have gained additional seats, providing crucial support. Shall be reporting on this.
This result is a personal setback for Mr. Modi, who has consistently won majorities in previous elections as both Chief Minister of Gujarat and India's Prime Minister, and has dominated Indian politics for a decade. The outcome also signals a surprising resurgence for the Congress party-led INDIA opposition alliance, contradicting earlier forecasts of its decline and diverging sharply from exit polls and pre-election surveys. Over 640 million people participated in the marathon 7-week election, which election authorities hailed as a world record. Nearly half of the voters were women. Many world leaders have faced challenges in securing third terms, and Mr. Modi is no exception. Despite the BJP remaining the largest party by seats, the significant loss of over 50 seats dims the allure of a third term, especially given Mr. Modi's ambitious campaign goal of 400 coalition seats, making the shortfall appear as an underachievement. This has led to celebrations in the Congress camp and disappointment among BJP supporters. Although the BJP is the single largest party, the high expectations have left many of their supporters feeling disheartened. Supporters of Mr. Modi attribute his third-term victory to factors such as stable governance, the appeal of continuity, efficient welfare programs, and the perception that he has enhanced India's global image. To this Hindu nationalist base, he has delivered on key promises, revoking the autonomy of Indian-administered Kashmir, constructing the Ram Temple in Ayodhya, and implementing a controversial citizenship law. Several BJP-ruled states have also enacted stricter regulations on interfaith marriages. The BJP's significant drop in seats may be attributed to issues like joblessness, rising prices, growing inequality, and a controversial army recruitment reform. Additionally, Mr. Modi's harsh and divisive campaign, particularly targeting Muslims, may have alienated voters in some regions. His slogan, Ab Ki Bar, 400 par, aiming for more than 400 seats for his MDA alliance, may have backfired, raising fears of constitutional changes among the poor. The BJP faced its largest setback in Uttar Pradesh, UP, a state larger than the United Kingdom and 3 times as populous. With 80 parliamentary seats, UP holds significant sway in national politics. Both Mr. Modi and Rahul Gandhi hold seats there. Mr. Modi's popularity has been attributed to his branding prowess, transforming routine events into spectacles and astute messaging. A weak opposition and largely friendly media also helped build this brand. However, the election results show that brand Modi has lost some of its shine, indicating vulnerability to anti-incumbency. This offers renewed hope to the opposition. India has a history of chaotic coalition governments, although some from the early 1990s and 2000s played significant roles in implementing economic reforms. If the BJP forms the government, it will depend on allies and need to adopt a more consultative and deliberative approach. This dependency makes it vulnerable to collapse if allies feel neglected. The party, once seen as all-powerful, is now reliant on allies, unlike in 2014 and 2019. Mr. Modi's decade-long reign has highlighted India's shift towards what some political scientists call a one-party dominant system. This system has 5 key traits: a charismatic leader, unrivaled control over resources and communication, unmatched organizational machinery, and a disorganized opposition. Shrinking freedoms also characterize a one-party dominant system. The BJP is not the first party to dominate Indian politics. For many years after independence, the Congress ruled without interruption. Tuesday's result has restored what many consider normal politics in India, with a range of parties sharing and competing for power. Back to you, John.
Thanks for that update.
when Narendra Modi aimed for a sweeping victory of 400 out of 543 seats for his alliance. Few doubted his ambition. Over the past decade, the Indian Prime Minister and his BJP have been an almost unstoppable force. However, while Modi and his alliance are on track to win a majority, it falls short of the overwhelming win they had envisioned when counting began this morning. We have Anthony reporting on this.
BBC correspondents in India shared their insights on the unexpected election results and their implications for the world's largest democracy. Religion has always played a significant role in Indian elections, and this one was no exception. In January, Modi inaugurated a Hindu temple at a controversial site disputed between Hindus and Muslims, which was expected to boost his party's performance. However, the BJP's campaign turned out to be more polarizing than anticipated, with some of the most aggressive remarks coming from the top. At a campaign rally in April, Modi stated, when the opposition Congress government was in power, they had said Muslims have the first right on the nation's wealth. This means they'll collect the wealth and give it to whom? To those who have many children, to infiltrators. Some analysts saw this as an attempt to galvanize his conservative Hindu base. Yet, results from key constituencies, such as the BJP candidate's loss in Ayodhya, suggest it did not have the desired effect. This has led to questions about the effectiveness of using the Hindu card as a campaign tool, as it seems to have united Muslim minorities against the BJP. Marketing experts have credited Narendra Modi's enduring popularity to his branding prowess, transforming routine events into spectacles and delivering astute messaging. Santosh Desai, a well-known brand consultant, wrote in 2017 that Modi's appeal lies in his aura of clarity and strength, his use of emotionally resonant metaphors, and his understanding of the power of branding key initiatives. Over the years, Modi has also positioned himself as a cultural icon, engaging diverse populations both domestically and internationally, solidifying his status as a major figure in Indian politics. A weak opposition and a largely friendly media helped build his brand. A brand consultant noted last year, he's pop culture in 70% of this country. However, the general election results indicate that brand Modi is beginning to lose its luster. Modi has always secured majorities in previous elections, but this time the results suggest even he is not immune to anti-incumbency sentiments. Since the formation of the opposition INDIA alliance in July 2023, comprising over 24 parties, the Modi-led government has portrayed it as a disorganized group of self-serving leaders targeting Modi personally. Despite BJP leaders and many analysts predicting an easy win for Modi, the Congress-led opposition emphasized rural distress, inflation, and unemployment in their messaging. Their rallying cries were that the Constitution is in danger and democratic institutions are under attack under a divisive Modi. A 4,200-mile, 6,700 kilometers, march by Rahul Gandhi of the Congress Party, initially criticized for its timing, is now seen as a move that energized supporters and mobilized partycators. The opposition also increased its social media presence, challenging the BJP's long-standing dominance in the digital arena. Despite its continued struggle in southern India, the BJP's vote share is set to increase. However, in Karnataka, it is losing at least 10 seats to Congress compared to the 25 seats it won in 2019. In Telangana, the BJP is on the verge of doubling its seats due to its alliance with the Telugu Desam Party, but in Tamil Nadu, the DMK-led alliance is likely to replicate its clean sweep from 2019. In Kerala, the communist government and the Congress-led front have kept the BJP from gaining Lok Sabha seats. The development-focused welfare schemes of the non-BJP parties seem to resonate more with voters in the South. Back to you, Bella.
Thanks for that update.
After Israeli forces withdrew from Gaza City's Al-Shifa hospital complex on April 1, following their second raid, Palestinians examining the burnt-out remains described the scene as reeking of death. Over the past 8 months of conflict, hospitals have been repeatedly attacked, with Israel claiming they are used as bases by Hamas, a claim the group denies. We have Jensen reporting on this.
Al-Shifa, once Gaza Strip's largest and best-equipped medical facility, has been central to these events. The Israeli government characterized the 2-week raid, initiated after claims that Hamas had regrouped at the site, as precise and surgical. Israeli spokesman Ali Hyman stated that the operation which reportedly resulted in over 200 Hamas members killed and over 900 apprehended, had not caused any civilian casualties. However, the presence of decaying bodies in the courtyards of Al-Shifa cast doubt on these claims. In recent weeks, 4 mass graves have been uncovered at the site, with Palestinian search teams finding several hundred bodies. On May 8, Rami Dababish of the Palestinian Civil Defense, dressed in full protective gear, reported finding decomposed and unidentifiable bodies, including those of women, children, and mutilated individuals. Dr. Mohammed Mueller of the Civil Defense noted signs of field executions, binding marks, gunshot wounds to the head, and torture marks on some bodies. The UN Security Council, alongside the US and the European Union, has expressed deep concern over the discovery of mass graves at Al-Shifa and Nasser Hospital in southern Gaza, calling for an independent investigation into potential war crimes. The Israel Defense Forces, IDF, claimed that during their raids they exhumed bodies buried earlier by Palestinians as part of a search for remains of hostages taken by Hamas during the October 7 attacks on Israel. They asserted that bodies were examined respectfully and non-Israeli bodies were buried. However, some recently found corpses at Al-Shifa were identified as patients who died during the latest military action. A paramedic reported finding bodies with IV catheters still attached. On April 15, the BBC met 2 men who had just recovered their mother's bodies from a mass grave. Mohammed al-Khatib found his mother Kala, while Walid Fema identified his mother, Lina Abu Lila, by her previous injuries. During the operation, which began on March 18, the IDF ordered thousands of civilians to leave the hospital and head south, though the hospital was allowed to continue functioning. By the end of the 2 weeks, only about 140 patients and medics reportedly remained. Back to you, John.
Thanks for that update.
President Joe Biden has issued significant new executive actions aimed at addressing the record levels of migrant arrivals at the U.S.-Mexico border, a situation that has posed a political challenge in an election year. The new measures allow officials to swiftly remove migrants who enter the U.S. illegally without processing their asylum requests, which will be triggered once a daily threshold is met and the border is deemed overwhelmed, according to a White House statement. We have Alana reporting on this.
The administration has introduced new measures to expedite immigration cases and alleviate pressure on the heavily burdened U.S. immigration courts. Speaking about the order at an event with several border town mayors, President Biden stated, "This action will help us gain control of our border." However, some immigration activists have criticized the move. Jenny Murray, president and CEO of the National Immigration Forum, expressed regret that politics are driving the immigration conversation in an increasingly restrictive direction. In his speech, President Biden also criticized Republicans for not passing bipartisan immigration reform earlier this year and urged progressive critics of the new executive action to be patient, emphasizing that doing nothing is not an option. During Biden's administration, more than 6.4 million migrants have been stopped while attempting to cross into the U.S. illegally. Although migrant arrivals have decreased this year, experts believe this trend may not continue. About a dozen advocates and Democratic lawmakers held their own press conference outside the U.S. Capitol on Tuesday, expressing their discontent with Biden's decision. Pramila Jayapal, chair of the Congressional Progressive Caucus, stated she was profoundly disappointed by the executive action, calling it a step in the wrong direction. Conversely, Donald Trump's campaign criticized the order, claiming it was for amnesty, not border security. The White House responded by asserting that the new actions will be in effect when high levels of encounters at the southern border exceed our ability to deliver timely consequences, as is the case today. Among the actions announced is the utilization of a 1952 law that permits restricting access to the American asylum system. Back to you, Bella.
Thanks for that update. Instagram is testing non-skippable ads, a new feature called Ad Break, which users cannot bypass as they usually do. Currently, users can swipe or scroll past ads in the main feed, stories, and reels. However, the ad break feature introduces a timer that counts down to 0 before users can continue browsing. We have Ava reporting on this.
When users click for more information, Instagram, owned by Meta, informs them, sometimes you may need to view an ad before you can keep browsing. Instagram confirmed to the BBC that this trial is ongoing, stating, "We're always testing formats that can drive value for advertisers." They added that further updates would be provided if the test leads to permanent changes. Meta also commented, saying they are always experimenting with new products and ad solutions in line with evolving consumer trends and business needs. Back to you, Bella.
Thanks for that update.
Thanks for tuning in to World in 15 for your daily dose of news and updates. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss out on breaking stories and insightful analysis.